Good Saturday afternoon slash evening, everyone here. What happened on that last one there? I'm not sure what that was all about, but thankfully we're back on here, so that'll be good at least on that end of things. So we are back on here. Had a little bit of a connection error there, so that will hopefully now we've hopefully gotten that figured out. So in the meantime, here, let me know where you're watching from, what you're seeing outside of your place, and I'll get started here in just a second after I share this out with some people here. So again, take two. Let's hope take two works this time. As I'm taking just a few seconds here to share this out from behind the scenes. And we're good. Alrighty, so here is the current situation. Let me know if you can also hear me as well. That will also help as well. So let me know if you can hear me too. Um, all right. First of all, as you see here on the radar, we got an active scene here. We got a lot of freezing rain out there. We got some rain in northeast Alabama, parts of northwest Georgia, and then for really the rest of southern Tennessee, it's pretty much all freezing rain. All the sleet and all the snow mostly has basically shifted from I-40 and north, so that's moving away, and now we're in the transition phase into the more crucial part of this winter storm event, which is the freezing rain and ice. And this is the setup that we've been not looking forward to, of all things. And unfortunately, with the way things have trended today, with temperatures trending colder than what model guidance suggested, that has actually increased the threat a little more, especially on the Tennessee side and also for extreme northwest Georgia and even a little bit of northeast Alabama. Bryant, Higdon, even Bridgeport, I was noticing the temperatures there are a little below freezing, 30, 31 last I checked. So there's a lot more areas actually seeing freezing rain right now at the moment. And now this screen right in here you see in the middle, I'll go and tell you it's not accurate. As I said before I got cut off there. Um, the thing is, in the middle, for some reason, this radar product, and there were some others that were doing this too. I mean, it's just one of those things. Sometimes a little error that happens, and so this screen you see here, not accurate for right now. Just imagine it in this peach color right here. So just imagine the screen is peach because it's below freezing. We'll just put it to you that way. The sleet is up here to the north in purple, and then up to the north of that, that's snow, and that's moving away from us in blue. So again, green rain, peach is freezing rain, and then the purple, that's sleet. Those are the three main colors here. So again, let's get down into some specifics here, and then we'll go into the timing of all this mess and everything else. So we'll start out here to the west and go to the east. So areas basically Murfreesboro, Shelbyville, Manchester, Fayetteville, Lynchburg, Winchester, Deckard. You all are getting in on this right now. And this is some pretty heavy freezing rain. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some sleet mixes in some of this heavier core up in here, but mostly it's freezing rain, at least according to radar. And then Estill Springs up into Grundy County. Just saw a report out of Grundy County in Tracy City of freezing rain. Exactly matches what this radar is saying, and that just turned a peach there just as I was looking at that. And then up here towards Altamont, Grootley, and even into parts of the Sequatchie Valley. So even the Sequatchie Valley is getting in on this freezing rain as well. So from Pikeville straight down to Jasper, Dunlap, and also South Pitt, you're getting in on this activity right now. And then even all of Hamilton County. I mean, everybody in Hamilton County is getting freezing rain pretty much right now, as temperatures even in the metro area are below freezing. And again, that critical mark, that critical number I've been talking about pretty much all week, is what we call the 32-degree mark. And that right there is very critical as to what you will see. I've been saying that all week here. So that tells you right there that since temperatures are below freezing, you are dealing with that freezing rain. And that also extends south into parts of northwest Georgia, specifically Dade, Walker, and Catoosa counties. So Ringgold, Fordo, Lookout, Trenton, Chickamauga, even Rock Spring and up towards Rossville, you guys are getting in on this activity as well, as you're slightly below freezing. Now, once you get down here towards Dalton and Lafayette, Chatsworth, and into parts of Scottsboro and Fort Payne, these areas are actually above the freezing mark. The warm front's actually lifted just a little bit more north. So you guys down in here to the south towards Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Dalton, Lafayette, Calhoun, and Somerville, you guys are actually above freezing right now. So you're just seeing rain or some drizzle down there, while everybody else to your north is dealing with the freezing rain as of this minute as we're approaching 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern Time. So now let's get into the timing and everything, because that is the number one thing here as we go forward here. So I'm going to put this into motion here. It may take a second to load. But notice here, and I got to go back a little bit because it skipped ahead. But notice as we get toward, there's 4 o'clock, so right now, so the HER model is finally catching up to reality here after being behind. So this is a pretty good look. Again, ignore some of the screen you see here in the middle across Marion and Grundy there. That's pretty much invalid right now as it's below freezing. But outside of that, all areas of southern Tennessee, parts of northwest Georgia, Daywalker, Catoosa, you're in the freezing rain. Still at 4. 5, pretty much no change. 6, not much change. 7, we start finally after about 6 o'clock or so. I do believe we will start finally with time. It will take time though. It's going to be a struggle for this warm nose to finally get up in here and start changing this to just liquid rain. But the mountain areas in particular, and out here towards McMinnville, Manchester, and west, it's going to take longer in the higher elevations, and even in the ridge lines and higher hills of some of the valley here, the East Tennessee Valley, it's going to take longer for this freezing rain to turn over to all rain. So it's going to be a little while, at least a few hours before it finally does. But I do believe it will as we get closer to midnight here. So about late night into midnight, I do believe we will change out of the freezing rain in the valley and turn into all rain, and even in most of the higher elevations, except parts of Signal, parts of Mowbray, up to Dayton Mountain and down towards Lookout. Those areas may actually stay freezing rain on and off right on through most of the night and into Sunday morning before finally this moisture from the south and west going into Sunday morning forces that freezing rain out and allows temperatures to warm up. And I do believe tomorrow we're going to get into the 40s for highs for our Sunday, and it's just going to be a raw, ugly day. As far as it's going to be wet, heavy soaking rain. Not going to be a good day for any kind of like travel or anything. I would definitely not recommend it. It's just going to be messy. Just lots of rain during the day on Sunday. It will move out from west to east during the afternoon, so we will get a break. But as I said, morning through lunchtime on Sunday and early afternoon, it's going to be a mess from the rain side of things. But watch what happens though as we get towards mid to late afternoon and sunset. Notice here comes the Arctic air. It's gonna finally be pushing in officially as we go into Sunday evening here. And notice the colors of the precip start to change on the back side. Now I will say that the moisture in this one is not as strong as this batch, but here's the thing: there's still that possibility of some drizzle and perhaps some freezing drizzle or light freezing rain as we go towards the evening hours on Sunday as this Arctic front moves through. And then on the back side of that, we may have a brief little period of maybe some light snow late Sunday night into early Monday morning. That could, in some locations, might be enough to put down a very light dusting. But unfortunately, with temperatures dropping into the teens pretty much area-wide going into Monday morning, no matter what happens, even if it doesn't snow a flake or doesn't add any freezing drizzle, doesn't matter what it does, we're going to have slick spots Monday morning. So I really want you to pay attention to the cold and the slick spot potential. That's going to be pretty high here going into Monday. This is why most school systems are going to be closed. Not as much for the precip, but the possibility of any water or anything like that refreezing, really the likelihood of that refreezing and creating slick spots as we go into Monday. And even though the sun should work to dry out at least some of the moisture during the day Monday, we're still going to have a slick spot problem also Tuesday morning as temperatures get even colder. I mean, we're talking potentially single digits in some locations going into Tuesday morning. So unfortunately, it's going to get colder behind this front, and very cold at that. So that will be our main story after we get through this next 24 hours here. So back here to the current radar picture as that updates here. Not much change with it. Again, ignore the blue up here to the north. That snow is staying far north, even though there is probably sleet mixing in, I would imagine, up towards Interstate 40. But as we go along here, notice this pink, this peach color here, this dark pink in here. That's that freezing rain. You see it's kind of spread out a little bit. Maybe I think the radar's finally kind of catching up to it here as far as temperature observations go. And as I said, it covers pretty much most of southern, middle, and southeast Tennessee, south of Interstate 40, and even down into northwest Alabama, west of 65 in the shoals. They've been getting freezing rain pretty much almost all day. They're getting that too. And here's the thing, we got a long way to go with this storm system. I'm gonna zoom out and show you how big this is. This winter storm, as the Weather Channel is calling it, Winter Storm Fern, this thing goes all the way back to New Mexico. That's how far reaching this is. I mean, you're talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of miles from west to east across the southern half of the U.S. being affected in some way by this storm. So this is going to go from all the way out there through the Ohio and Tennessee valleys and eventually up into the northeast U.S. So this is going to affect millions of people. Millions are being affected by this in some way, whether it's through snow, sleet, freezing rain, cold, or rain. It's affecting a huge portion of the country right now. So if you know anybody or have any travel plans, just cancel them. Especially if you're going north and west and east, just don't do it because it is a mess out there, especially over the southern half and the middle and eastern portions of the United States, including us. So, yeah, while we're getting the ice and the rain part of this, which is still significant, especially the icing, areas north of us are getting some very heavy snow up into Kentucky and the Ohio Valley. So, no matter where you go here in the eastern half of the U.S., it is just a mess out there, and it will be for the next 24 to 36 hours, no matter where you go. So there's the current situation on that end. Now, as far as school closings is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and address that here as well because we've gotten some new information on that end of things. Once that loads up here in just a minute, I'm actually going through and finding that info right now. And as I wait to get that on there for you, I do know of a few closings here. I'll read down the list. So this is going to be Athens City Schools. You guys are closed Monday and Tuesday. Also, Bledsoe County Schools. You guys are also closed. Here we go. So Athens City Schools are closed Monday and Tuesday. Same with Bledsoe County, Bradley County, Cannon County, Cleveland City, Dayton City, DeKalb County, Tennessee schools, and Etowah City schools. Y'all are all closed Monday and Tuesday. For now, at least for now, Franklin and Grundy County schools are closed just for Monday. Kimball Christian Academy is also closed on Monday. McMinn, Meigs, Polk, and Ray County schools are closed Monday and Tuesday. Richard Hardy in South Pittsburgh is also closed Monday and Tuesday. And then Tullahoma City schools, they are on remote learning on Monday, and Winchester Christian is closed on Monday. And today, just today, we actually got closings from Northwest Georgia. So let me read those out to you in case you missed them. Catoosa County schools. So basically, Catoosa County, Chickamauga City, Dade County, Dalton Public Schools, Murray County Schools, Walker County, and Whitfield County Schools. You are all closed on Monday. And they're all evaluating Tuesday as well. So while no announcement's been made for Tuesday in those areas yet, but they are evaluating that and should have a decision out here by either tomorrow or Monday at some point. Now there are a couple of colleges and universities that are also have announced closures and stuff. Dalton State, Georgia Northwestern Technical College are closed on Monday, and then MTSU, Middle Tennessee State Murfreesboro, is on remote learning, so that's online learning, on Monday. And again, that list, as I put at the bottom there, that list will be updated. And what I'm actually going to do tomorrow is, just so, as of course for reminders, I'm actually going to copy and paste this and add whatever schools that come up tomorrow or early Monday, and I'm going to add that and make a new list. So that way you'll have the full list and everything else that's completely updated that encompasses all three states and also also universities and things. So that's the plan I have for tomorrow and Monday as far as the closings and stuff are concerned. So again, I got you covering all that. Like I said, I know it's a lot to read. I know a lot of my posts are a lot to read, but There's just a lot of information that has to get out here, and it has to get out in a relatively quick manner. So I know many of you understand that have followed me, pretty much grown up with me, that you know that I'm very heavy information driven and all that, and just want to make sure that everybody gets the latest to this point. So again, for those just tuning in, this is our current situation here on radar. The peach color you see here / dark pink, that's your choice on what you want to call it. That's the freezing rain. Green is rain. Blue up north is snow. And then the purple you see trying to mix in, that is some sleet trying to mix in, but I believe most of it is pretty much freezing rain at this point. And then once you get south into parts of northeast Alabama and northwest Georgia, specifically along and south of a Scottsboro, Lafayette, Dalton, Chatsworth line, down towards Gadsden and metro Atlanta, it's pretty much nothing, and it's actually above freezing in those areas right now. Now, speaking of travel, if you do plan on anything like that, please, I know we have a lot of essential workers that have to go out and work and everything else, but if you are non-essential and you don't need to go out for anything, please don't. If you do have to go out, take it slow. Be very, very careful, especially on those secondary roads. Those secondary and the back roads and such, they are a mess out there. They really are. This morning, and the reason why we had so many issues and accidents this morning from just the dusting of snow that we saw was because the temperatures were in the 20s. And that's a lot different from when you would have a temperature at like 33. That's a big difference right there. That's a 10-degree difference that we had this morning as far as that's concerned. We were in the 20s, so it was a drier snow. And not only that, it didn't take as long for any light amount of snow to stick, so that just made the roads very slick. And even the treated roads, like I-24, we even had a couple wrecks on that this morning. One going up Mont Eagle from Pelham, and one earlier this morning over Nickajack Lake. So we just had a lot. That's the reason for all that, was because the roads were slick, even though they were treated, because temperatures dropped into the low 20s. And that's what the temperatures were, low to mid-20s, as the precip started. So that's just another thing. And then you add freezing rain on top of all that, and that just creates a whole nother nightmare, especially on those secondary roads. They're going to be pretty rough, and period, point blank. So again, as I said here, we all have the freezing rain right now across southern Tennessee, and again, Lookout Mountain in northwest Georgia, and even some of the valley areas in northwest Georgia, mainly north of Dalton and north of Lafayette, and also northeast of Scottsboro in Jackson County. And then back out to the west of Huntsville, you got some more precip moving in, but I am hopeful as we go through the next several hours, especially as we get towards closer to midnight here, I am hopeful that we will eventually see that change over to just rain. And hopefully tomorrow, the soaking rain we get tomorrow, I'm hoping that it will take out the ice altogether and hopefully just keep it and just melt it at least. But either way, no matter what happens, no matter how much melting occurs, no matter whatever happens tomorrow, at least what the rain does tomorrow, it's all going to a lot of it's going to refreeze Sunday night and the Monday morning as we all drop well below freezing. So, and it's going to be a pretty fast drop too. So we're going to go from the 40s tomorrow afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and we're going to be in the 20s likely before midnight. So it's going to be a very fast drop. It's going to be like that. So it'll be a good 10 to 20 degree drop in a very short order. So I wouldn't say it would be necessarily a concern for what we call a flash freeze, but we're going to be pretty awfully close to that as we get towards the nighttime hours of Sunday and into early, and especially as we go into early Monday morning. And I say, if you have to work early Monday morning, I would highly suggest being very careful and just taking it slow. And anything that you see that might be wet may very well be icy. That's just the way this is likely going to work here, especially on those secondary roads. And even some of the main roads could have slick spots as well. So that is the situation there. And I'm going to recap the temperatures here real fast as far as what that looks like. I'm going to give those numbers out to you here because I unfortunately don't have access to that on here. And plus it would kind of block out the way if I did. Right now I got 30 in Chattanooga, 30 in Hickson, 31 in Fort O, 31 in Jasper, 30 in Whitwell. Same with Dunlap. Swanee area 31, 30 in Tracy City, 27 in Manchester, 28 in McMinnville. It says here 28 in Spencer, 27 Sparta, 23 Smithville, 25 in Crossville, 31 in Athens and Cleveland, 30 in the Dayton area, and then 34 in Dalton. Y'all are above freezing down there. And then 37 in Fort Payne, 35 in Scottsboro. So that warm air is slowly nudging north. It's just taking its time doing so. And then check this out. In Alabama, the northeast Alabama, Gadsden is at 47, Albertville at 43. So that warm air is trying to move north, but as I said, it's struggling because we got that northeast wind that's holding it back, and it's kind of created a battle zone that's pretty much set up right over us, in other words, here across the tri-state. So that's the thing with that. I mean, it's basically right over us. So that means we're getting this freezing rain, and to the north of that front, and then south of it, it is just rain or drizzle to the south. So, but on the Tennessee side, as of this update, it is pretty much all freezing rain. And one thing to note, I will say, how will you know if you're having freezing rain? Well, you'll start noticing a few things. Number one, your cars, if they aren't already, they would be iced up. And then one thing you'll notice with the freezing rain is that when you look, you may start seeing icicles forming, whether it's on your roof or on the edge of your roof or on the edge of your vehicle or whatever that may be. You may start seeing icicles form. And also anything that's unprotected, like decks, railings, stairs, all that stuff, sidewalks, untreated roads, all that stuff becomes a sheet of ice after just a little bit of time with freezing rain. And I tell you, some of these rates that you see up in here, this dark pink and everything in here, that's some pretty heavy freezing rain. And that right there, it won't take much time for that to add up. So we will really have to watch for the possibility of some localized power outages, especially in the higher elevations where the worst of this will occur. And I won't even rule out a few isolated power outages even down at the valley floor, especially with the way temperatures are still holding at that 30, 31, 32 degree mark. I mean, it's just too close, really. And you add the fact that the ground temperature is in the 20s. I actually checked the ground temperature outside not too long ago, and it's still in the 20s in most areas. So the ground temperature, that's going to take a lot. That's going to take a lot of energy to overcome that. So that's going to be the thing here over the next several hours. Is going to be that battle, between that warm air trying to advance north and that Arctic air that's pretty much wedged in here across southern and pretty much most of Tennessee. Now, up here to the north, out of curiosity, I know some of you may want to know where all the snow is, but all the snow is up in Kentucky pretty much right now. It's all up in Kentucky, so it's moving away from us, and it goes all the way up. I mean, look how large this storm system is. It goes all the way up into Indiana and Illinois. So, and all the way back to the plains and east into Virginia and Pennsylvania. So, it's affecting a lot of people out there and with all kinds of havoc. And then again, more moisture is going to be building in from the south. So all this you see down in here in Mississippi, guess where that's going? That is going in our direction. And that's just going to continue here throughout the evening hours and throughout the night. We're just going to have this almost, I wouldn't call it an atmospheric river, but we're just going to have a huge moisture plume that's just going to continue to move from southwest to northeast. So whatever you may not be getting to the south of Chattanooga, you're going to get at least rain out of this because it's going to be a lot of moisture here pumping in from the Gulf and from Mississippi here. So we got a long way to go as far as this storm system's concerned. We still got at least another 24 hours of at least some type of precipitation, whether it's freezing rain or rain. We still got another 24 hours to go as far as that's concerned. So we'll run through the modeling here one more time, and then I'll sign off here and then put out some more written / radar updates here for the next few hours here. Several, I should say. And we'll go through that timing one more time before I sign off. So let's get into that here, and let me put the play button on here so we can go through that. And again, I have to go back a little bit because it speeds up really quick Here we are at 4 o'clock, pretty much right now. There's the current situation there. 5 o'clock, nothing much changing. 6, pretty much same placements. 7, about the same, I would say, on this end. But you notice, though, as we get towards after sunset, after 7-ish or so, we do start seeing that warm air finally at least winning, at least in parts of the valley. But there's a chance up in here as you get up here from about downtown and north up towards Dayton and maybe even Cleveland, Decatur, Athens. You guys may be stuck in the freezing rain longer up here, especially up on those ridge lines and such. Again, the higher elevations will stay freezing rain a lot longer than the valley will. And then as we get towards Sunday morning, we will all be 100% all rain. I can pretty much assure you by the time we get towards after sunrise on Sunday at least. And that will continue through most of the day. And I said it will be some heavy soaking rain here, as you saw by those yellows and reds and all that. And then as we get after lunchtime and during the afternoon, the precip's going to end from west to east with each passing hour. And then as we get towards around sunset, we close in on sunset on Sunday evening as the Arctic air moves back in. There could be some drizzle here to the east, some light rain here, and then there could be some freezing rain and freezing drizzle here on the back side. Amounts will be light, but enough that could cause some icy spots as we get towards Sunday evening, especially towards dark time. And you can see here it covers up pretty much most of the mid-state, and it moves east from there. Hold on here just a second, make sure that works, and there we go. And then notice that moves off to the east, and then we get a lull. And then we may get some light snowflakes here on the backside, some light snow showers or flurries as we get towards late Sunday night into pre-dawn Monday morning before sunrise. And that may be just a light snow, or it may actually, in some of the heavier pockets that if it were to verify, you may get a quick light dusting, especially in the higher elevations. And then that's gone. And then Monday is just a cold and raw day. And be alert for the high likelihood of slick spots on roadways and all that. And really, that will be the main thing for Monday. The main thing will be the cold and the slick spots on roads for Monday and Tuesday. That's the two biggest things, and that is the reason why school systems are closing for Monday and Tuesday. Now, I've not heard so far from Hamilton County or Squatchy County or Marion County or a few others, but I would pretty much bet on a closing here based on current trends, especially with temperatures and, of course, that high slick spot threat here as far as icy conditions go. So, I mean, those that have not made an announcement yet, I would pretty much guarantee that they will close. And again, that's just a prediction. I'm not saying they are, but I'm just giving a prediction of that, just based on current trends and everything else in between. So, again, one quick check of radar before I sign out here for the evening, at least on the live stream part, at least for right now. Again, I'll have more written posts and stuff here through the next several hours as this system evolves and all that. And again, continue to send in your reports here, because as temperatures change and fluctuate a little bit, just slowly, those ground reports are going to be extremely key, and that's going to be the thing you're going forward. So again, I want you to be safe, while doing it. I don't want you risking yourself and, slipping and all that. But if you're at a safe position, of course, just let me know what's going on. And I mean, you could either direct message me that report or put it in a comment of one of my posts, whatever you want to do on that, just so we can get some ground truth here to what's going on. Because radar, as good as radar is and how advanced it is, again, as you see here, where it's showing rain with temperatures below freezing in the green, again, that sometimes it can be inaccurate. Instead, it's, as I said earlier, it's in this peach color, which is the freezing rain. And the one thing to note is, freezing rain is not different from regular rain as far as it falling from the sky. Freezing rain is just like regular rain when it falls from the sky. However, the main difference with freezing rain and why it's so dangerous is because as those rain droplets hit the ground with a temperature that is below freezing, it freezes on everything in contact, whether it's sidewalks, decks, railings, stairs, vehicles, roofs, hoods of cars, anything, poles, power lines, anything like that. That's what freezing rain does. It freezes, it's rain droplets that freeze on contact with the ground when the temperature is 32.0 or below. So that's the criteria for freezing rain. So if your temperature is 32.0 or below that, which it is for likely many of you, at least right now, you are getting freezing rain if it is raining, and that is not a good thing. So my advice would be to charge up your devices if you can. Just out of precaution, just in case you were to lose power. Charge up your devices. Have some flashlights with you. Make sure you have non-perishable food and drinks and all that, just to get you through at least the next 12 hours or so, roughly at least. So just some things that'll get you through at least the weekend and everything else. And again, we will get through it. We'll be fine. We will get through this. We just got to take the necessary safety precautions and don't go out unless you have to, as far as the roads are concerned. If you have to go out, take it slow, take your time, be very careful, and all that. So with that said here, I will have more updates for you guys here throughout the evening, mostly in the written/texted form. So I hope you guys have a good evening, and I will see y'all soon.